tubers from a roasting Angleterre. We're having a heat wave. It is baking hot. And anyway, called this very short video, which is for Poetry Thursday. I called it Wild Oats for obvious reasons. I'm going to read two short poems, and they're both called Wild Oats. And the first one is by a favourite of mine. I'm not that well versed in modern poets or, poets on for the last century, say 20th century, anything like that at all. But this is MacCaig, and I just love his work. This is a collected poems. I've got two editions of it, so I must like him. I've got two. And Scottish poet, as many of you will know. It's 1910, he was born, died in 1996. And he often writes about Scotland. And that tune I just played, The Poor Soldier, it's a traditional Scottish tune. Robert Burns used it for a song, I think. Anyway, just by way of an introduction. But there's something about the clarity of Norman MacCaig's writing. It's always understandable. He did an early collection, and that is rather modern and obscure. But after that, he sort of wised up, and he wrote poems that are very, I think anyway, easy to understand, but they're not frivolous or light. Well, some are, but mainly they're actually very well observed. When he's often writing about the natural world, he writes about toads, for instance, and things like that. Just life, things that he sees, and the scenery of the west of Scotland, the Highlands, and so on. Lots of that kind of thing. But I thought I'd read just one of his poems. It's not really representative of what he does, but it shows both his observation and his humour. So this is Wild Oats. Every day I see from my window pigeons up on a roof ledge. The males are wobbling gyroscopes of lust. Last week a stranger joined them, a snow-white, pouting fantail. Mae West in the Women's Guild. What becks, what crews, what demented pirouetting, what a lack of moustaches to stroke. The females, no need to be one of them to know exactly what they were thinking, pretended she wasn't there, and went dowdily on with whatever pigeons do when they're knitting. Marvellous. And then another one. This is Wild Oats. This is another comic poem. And this is by Philip Larkin, who's usually thought of as being very lugubrious. He was quite a lugubrious person, but he did have another side to him. And a lot of that only emerged after he died, actually. And again, I find his poems, most of them anyway, not all, but most of them are, open to the clarity of them. You can understand them, and they're so acute in observation. A lot of them are quite bleak. Some of them are, you know, you wouldn't want to read them if you're feeling a little bit low yourself. Some of them are very, very bleak. But he also had a sense of humour. And I just hope, if you haven't, this is from a collection, a very famous collection, the Whitsun Weddings. And just superb work, really. And I just love this one. I won't be able to get through this without laughing. It's called Wild Oats. About 20 years ago, two girls came in where I worked. A bosomy English rose and a friend in specs I could talk to. Faces in those days sparked the whole shooting match off, and I doubt if ever one had like hers, but it was the friend I took out. And in 7 years after that, wrote over 400 letters, gave a 10-guinea ring. I got back in the end, and met at numerous cathedral cities, unknown to the clergy, I believe. I met Beautiful twice. She was trying both times, so I thought not to laugh. Parting after about 5 rehearsals was an agreement that I was too selfish, withdrawn, and easily bored to love. Well, useful to get that learnt. In my wallet are still 2 snaps of bosomy rose with fur gloves on. Unlucky charms, perhaps. That is just fantastic. Just fantastic. So funny. Anyway, what can you say? Thank you, BookTube.